revealed, my son's incredible 180 degrees turn. He gifted our family villa to his wife's family. The Johnsons had built their dream right there, in a small, picturesque suburb where each yard bloomed with love and hard work. Jake, their pride and joy, was as blue-collar as they come. The smell of sizzling burgers wafted through the air during family barbecues, and laughter echoed through their cherished villa, filled with a lifetime of memories and humble beginnings. But then came Emma, a vibrant whirlwind, straight from the world of affluence. When Jake fell for her, the Johnsons felt it, the unease stirring in their hearts, the quiet fear of their son slipping away into a life they didn't understand. "Look at this place," Emma said, twirling in their backyard, grace and elegance dripping from her every movement. Jake grinned, but his parents exchanged nervous glances, the picture-perfect house now feeling like a shadow looming over them. As their romance blossomed, lovely dinners under twinkling lights shifted into magnificent affairs hosted by Emma's family, adorned with extravagance that left Tom and Lisa anxious. A world of opulence staged right behind their blue-collar curtain. Jake glowed in her company, but with each yes to lavishness, the Johnsons felt smaller. Then, one fateful day, he made a shocking announcement. He decided to gift their cherished family villa to Emma's parents. Tom's heart dropped. Lisa burst into tears. "Jake, how could you?" she gasped, clutching her heart. "This home, it's everything. It's our lives." "It's just a house," he replied, but the sorrow etched on their faces proved otherwise. The weight of sacrifice and love hovered heavily in the air. In that moment, a chasm opened between them, one that echoed with unspoken betrayal. "Can you turn your back on your roots for glitter?" Lisa whispered, her voice breaking. The tension escalated among friends, whispers of social divides cutting the fabric of the community they had woven together. Friends pulled away, communities began to split, sides were being taken, each torn piece feeding into the widening rift. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. A community crisis erupted when news surfaced that the beloved local park, where families gathered for summer picnics and children played under the sun, was being threatened by new developments much like the lavish world Emma came from. Tensions flared as the Johnsons found themselves face-to-face with Emma's polished family. Each word tasted bitter against the backdrop of their struggle. Heated exchanges echoed, painful truths swirling like smoke. "Your world doesn't understand us," Tom stammered. Jake felt the crushing weight of loyalty to both families. "You don't get it. I'm trying to balance," he whispered, his chest tightening. Would he lose everything that anchored him to his past as he reached for a future filled with promise? The atmosphere crackled, filled with unspoken questions. What lay ahead was uncertain, a heartbreaking conflict of love, loyalty, and identity. Jake stood at the crossroads, the Johnson legacy teetering on the brink. Would he find a way to bridge the growing divide, or was he destined to lose his roots entirely? The answer lingered like an unanswered prayer, hanging heavy in the air. The air buzzed with anxiety and anger as the Johnsons rallied their neighbors to defend the park. This wasn't just about losing a space for families. It was about standing up for a way of life they treasured. Lisa clutched a flyer in her hands. Its edges crumpled from her nervous grip. "We have to fight for this," she said, her voice steady in a way that surprised even her. Tom nodded, though the lines on his forehead deepened with worry. "We do, Lisa. But how do we make the others understand? They're all so enamored with Emma and her family's wealth." It burned to think that money could overshadow their shared stories and dreams woven in that park's grass. As rumors swirled in their once tight-knit community, Jake was caught between the thunder of family loyalty and the passionate pull of Emma's world. He felt the burden of expectations weighing on his shoulders. The last thing he wanted was for his family to be on the losing side. But did it have to come at such a high cost? "Jake, you need to talk to Emma," his friend Chris urged one night after a grueling community meeting. "She has power that could help. Use it." Jake's gut twisted. Leaning on Emma felt like betraying everything he had known. Yet, as days passed, the silence between them grew unbearable. Finally, he found the courage to confront her about the park controversy. Emma, the community is hurting. You have to see that. He watched her face as her expression shifted from surprise to defensiveness. It's a piece of land, Jake. My family has plans. If we back out now, it's seen as a weakness. Strength isn't measured by money or developments. Jake's voice was strained, but a steady determination fueled him. It's about what we build together, what matters to us. You can help them understand. Terrified tension filled the room as silence blanketed their argument. It flickered in their eyes an acknowledgement of the reality growing between them. Would money kill what once felt so effortless? Days turned into restless nights. Jake found himself at the park, standing near the swing set where he had pushed his younger sister years ago. The laughter of children echoed through his memories, tinged with anguish. This was home, the heart of his childhood. He envisioned the love shared in those moments, the connections that both defined him and filled his soul with warmth. Brooding under the vast, open sky, he made a choice. Jake would fight back not just for the park, but for all he believed in, even if it meant choosing sides. Gathering his thoughts, he pulled out his phone and typed the words he had rehearsed over and over, ready to reach out to the neighbors, to ignite a fire beneath their cause. Just as he hit send, he looked up to find Emma standing a few feet away, arms crossed, eyes steely. "What are you doing, Jake?" she asked, the softness in her tone replaced with something darker. "I'm doing what I should have done a long time ago. I'm fighting for what's right." Emma's face clouded over in confusion and disbelief. "And what about us?" she whispered, a vulnerability creeping into her words. "What about us?" he repeated, knowing the weight of the question hung heavy between them. Could love survive amidst such a fracture? As silence engulfed them once more, the stakes heightened. He could feel the ground shifting beneath their feet. Would he be able to reclaim his past while still building a future with Emma? Or would his choice fracture their love irrevocably? The air crackled with tension, and everything hung in the balance. Jake's heart raced as he watched Emma's expression shift. She took a step closer, voice trembling. "You can't just throw everything away, Jake. We had plans, dreams." Each word felt like a weight pulling him deeper into uncertainty. "We did, Emma. But those dreams can't come at the expense of others." He glanced around, searching for familiar faces in the park. The void in these moments seemed to amplify the tension, making it almost unbearable. Emma looked down, her fingers twisting together. "What do you want me to say? That I'll leave everything behind because of them?" She motioned vaguely toward the neighborhood, her manicured nails a stark contrast against the roughness of their shared history. "My family has built their lives around that development. I can't just turn my back on them." The words cut sharper than he expected. "What about the kids who play here? The families who have spent years coming to this park? Are they just collateral damage?" A flicker of recognition crossed Emma's face, as if for the first time she truly saw how deeply this ran for both of them. "It's not just about the park, is it?" she murmured, almost to herself. "No, it's about the community. It's about us." He took a step closer, desperate for her to grasp the depth of his feelings. "I don't want to lose you, but I can't lose this place either. I don't know how to do both." Her eyes blinked rapidly, a telltale sign of the whirlwind inside her, and for a moment, Jake believed she might understand. But then her hands dropped to her sides, rigid and cold. "I can't fight my family, Jake. You don't know what they're like. It wouldn't just hurt me, it would ruin everything. Sometimes it has to hurt in order to make a change." He stepped back, trying to process how they had both fallen into this chasm. Emma's family, with their imposing wealth and influence, had previously felt like an asset. Now, it loomed overhead like a storm cloud. "But it's not just change, it's risking our entire future," she whispered. "You want me to take a stand against them, against all I've ever known? Isn't that the real cost of love? Finding a way to share it?" The sound of the wind rustling through the trees almost swallowed his words. Silence settled around them, thickening the air. Emma hesitated, her gaze flickering over his face as if searching for reassurance. "I don't know if we'll agree on this. What do we do if we can't find a compromise? This isn't just about us anymore, Emma. It's about uprooting the foundation of everything our community holds dear." The tension was a tightrope they both balanced on either side. What had once seemed effortless between them now felt like a chasm that threatened to swallow their future. "Jake," she began, her voice wavering. But before she could complete her thought, they heard a distant commotion. Neighbors were gathering at the park entrance, a wave of energy building as more voices joined the clamor. It was a protest, one he had helped ignite with a simple message of unity. "Look," he said, urgency creeping into his voice. "They're standing up for what we believe in. This is our chance." But as Jake turned back to Emma, her face was pale, conflict twisting through her features. "This could destroy everything I've ever known, everything I've worked for." And in that moment, everything felt at stake, their love hanging in the balance. As the voices of their neighbors grew louder, drowning out the whispers of their fears. Which side would she choose? The ground rumbled underfoot. Would they each walk their paths, or could they find a way to stand together? In the thickening air, he realized this was a defining moment. But would it be for the park, or for them? The shadows danced, and uncertainty loomed larger than ever. The crowd was growing thicker, energized voices rising in determination. Jake felt the pulse of the protest beat through the air like a drum, every chant echoing his own convictions. Yet beside him, Emma's eyes darted around, catching bits of faces, past conversations, family ties. He could see her grapple with every word swirling in the air. "Jake, what do we even say?" Her voice was barely above a whisper now, panic creeping in. "Do we join them? What if my family, Emma? Think of the children here. This park is their sanctuary. We can't let your family take that away." Each syllable dripped with a longing that felt heavier than any responsibility. I can't be the one who stands against them," she replied, shaking her head. Yet a flicker of something more than fear danced in her eyes. Was it doubt? "Then what? We just stand back and watch. You can be the bridge between both worlds, Emma. You don't need to choose one over the other." The neighbors rallied, voices intertwining, creating a web of shared desires and hopes. He saw faces lighting with determination, mothers clutching their children closely, fathers raising their fists in solidarity. Jake lifted his eyes to the heavens, feeling a wave of inspiration rolling through him. He needed to reach that part of Emma, a part that yearned to fight for something greater than status and expectations. "Look at them," Jake exclaimed. "This is what community means. It's what we dreamed of. A place where families thrive together, not against each other." She took a breath, but her shoulders sagged with every word that followed. "But can't you see? Standing against my family could tear everything apart, Jake. They have so much power. They can hurt us." Her vulnerability hit him like a freeze frame. Wasn't he love supposed to be fearless? And what about us? What about this place we promised to protect together? In that moment, Jake didn't he know if he was fighting for the park or for Emma or both. He reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. "Let us be strong together, then. We can fight for this community and stand by your family too. There's a way if we find it together." She looked down at their joined hands. It was a lifeline amidst uncertainty, a tangible promise to one another. But the doubt creased her brow deeper. "For me, it's not just my family. I love you, but if this goes wrong." A raucous cheer erupted. Spotlights shone down on the people gathered. Jake looked back out to see the crowd, resolute and vibrant. "You're not alone in this. I'm fighting for you. I won't let your family take this community. We can survive this together." Emma met his gaze, her turmoil swirling and coiling like smoke. "But what if standing up breaks us instead?" The intensity between them crackled. As they faced the chaos, where voices merged into a symphony of hope, Jake knew he had to lead them forward. But could he convince Emma to believe that they were stronger together, even in the face of a possible family fracture? "Just trust me, Em," he said firmly. "Let us take the first step together." With that, Jake turned to the crowd, raising his voice to join the chorus. His heart beat like a hammer, but in unison with the lives around him, a peace settled over him. Here, in this moment, they had each other. Yet as they began to step toward the gathering, the looming clouds of her family's power cast a long shadow. Would they walk into battle hand in hand? Or would Emma's fear pull her back into the familiar, leaving Jake to face this fight alone? As the chants rose, Jake felt the weight of the moment. Emma's hand felt warm in his, a comforting anchor amidst the storm. He squeezed it gently, hoping to transfer some of his strength. "Let us go, Em," he urged, drawing her closer to the front line of the crowd. "Okay," she said, her voice tentative but somehow softer, more resolute. The flicker in her eyes ignited his hope. Together, they walked forward. The energy of the gathering washed over them, adrenaline surging with each step. They reached the heart of the protest, a sea of faces merging into a singular force. People around them were fired up, chanting slogans, holding signs emblazoned with words of resilience. A mixture of fear and exhilaration weaved through Jake's heart as he caught Emma's eye. "This is it," she murmured. "It is," he replied, drawn to the enthusiasm thrumming like a heartbeat through the crowd. To him, it felt like hope in action. He turned his gaze to the horizon where the sun dipped, blazing orange against gray clouds. Suddenly, a booming voice pierced the air. A local leader stepped onto a makeshift stage, his presence commanding immediate attention. "We've gathered here today not just to protect this park, but to protect our homes, our families." Jake felt the swell of emotion ripple through everyone. He could see passion reflected in faces of all ages, some with tears, others fists clenched. Emma stood beside him, her breath now steadying, her posture more confident. As the speech continued, Jake glanced at Emma, who seemed to be absorbing every word, her eyes widening as the cries of the crowd swelled. The leader spoke of unity, of the importance of standing together against those who sought to divide them. "You see," he whispered, "this is what we can be a part of. Nothing can break that." But Emma's gaze wandered again, worry etching lines on her face. "What about my family?" she whispered back, urgency lacing her words. "What will they think? Is family loyalty worth your silence?" Jake asked, using gentle conviction. "What is more important, what they think or what you believe?" His question lingered in the air, intertwining with the shouts of agreement swelling around them. Emma seemed lost for a moment, her thoughts fluctuating like the flickering light of hope. "I don't want to lose them either," she finally said, her voice resembling a plea. Jake stepped closer, his heart racing, eyes locked onto her. "You won. You'll gain your voice. You'll stand for something you believe in, not just for them." Her conflict sparked like a firework in the night, illuminating fear and potential at once. The crowd roared, unifying in chants of resistance, echoing Emma's inner turmoil. Then, a shadow passed overhead, dark and looming. Jake glanced up just as a figure emerged from the thickening clouds gathering on the horizon. It was a group of individuals, their demeanor fierce local leaders of Emma's family. He felt Emma stiffen beside him. Emma's grip tightened around his hand, panic igniting. "I can't face them, I can't." He turned to her, his heart pounding in unison with hers. "You're not alone, Em. Whatever comes, we'll face it together." The moment hung heavy, threads of impending confrontation weaving through the air. The crowd buzzed, nerves blending with excitement. But behind Emma's fear lay a thrilling undertone, challenging her to rise. "What are they doing here?" she whispered as Jake's gaze remained locked ahead. Sam, their neighbor, stepped forward to confront the family members looming before them, a wave of courage washing over him. "Let us stand together, no matter who's here. This park belongs to us all." In that second, as Emma's family stepped closer, Jake knew they were standing on the edge of something monumental. Would Emma's resolve finally break through, or would she retreat into the shadows, surrendering to the fear that threatened to swallow them both? The air crackled with tension, and he held his breath, waiting for her to decide. Emma's heart raced, each beat echoing the chants of the crowd, yet it felt like a distant drum. The faces of her family members loomed closer, their expressions a mix of concern and confusion. All around her, the protest buzzed with life, but in this moment, she felt suspended in time, grappling with the weight of expectation. "Emma," her uncle called out, his voice slicing through the noise. "We need to talk." Jake shifted closer, shielding Emma as her family advanced. "Just breathe, Em. Remember why you're here." His words lingered in the air, but self-doubt flared like a match in her mind. "Stay with me," she whispered, trying to calm the storm inside her. Their neighbor Sam continued to advocate, his voice rising over the clamor. "This is more than just a park, folks. It's about right and wrong, about standing up for what we believe in." Her uncle stepped forward, a protective fury in his eyes. "Emma, you don't understand the danger of this." She shook her head, feeling the fissures forming between her heart and her loyalty. But I do understand. She managed to shout, surprising herself with the strength in her voice. It's not just about the park. It's about who we are. Silence fell for a split second. The energy of the crowd hung in the balance, as if they were collectively holding their breath. Emma's family exchanged glances, her mother's face pale, yet curious. Emma, we love you. We want what's best for you, her mother implored, a hint of desperation in her voice. Tears prickled at the back of Emma's eyes. The love was palpable, but there was a storm brewing inside her too. Then let me find my own path, she cried, her voice carrying over the growing murmurs of agreement from the surrounding crowd. Jake's heart soared. That's it, Em. Stand for yourself. Let them see you. His fervent nod pushed her to dig deeper, to summon the courage that lay coiled within her. Their eyes met, and he gave her a reassuring smile, igniting a flicker of confidence. The chants returned, louder now, rallying behind her. But just as she felt the rush of empowerment, her uncle surged closer. You think this moment defines you? You're a part of something bigger, family, tradition. Don't throw it away. A wave of anxiety crashed over her, the echoes of his words threatening to pull her back. The comfort of her family seemed miles away now, further than the rallying cries surrounding her. In a single moment, she was brought back to quiet evenings at home, her mother's gentle hum while preparing dinner, her father's stories that painted the past. Those memories were woven tightly into her identity. But what about her own voice? What about her dreams? The tension twisted inside her. Maybe this is what defining moments feel like, Jake whispered, as if reading her mind, grounding her in the throes of chaos. Listen to your heart, Em. What does it tell you? The entire world stood still as she took a deep breath. The warmth of Jake's hand made her feel less alone. With each inhale, she drew in a sense of purpose. With each exhale, she released her fears. I won't hide anymore, she declared, louder than before. A ripple of anticipation surged through the crowd. Emma's family members exchanged glances, sensing the shift. Don't do this, Em. Her uncle objected. I have to. She shot back, scrambling to find her voice again. For us, we can't keep pretending everything is fine while we're losing ourselves. The chant swelled, cementing her resolve. Reality was shifting, the ground beneath her changing as people rallied behind her name. But just then, a loud crack arose from the far side of the crowd. All heads turned, sensing a sudden shift. Tension zapped through the air, anticipation curling like smoke. Jake's stomach dropped. What was that? As the crowd parted, revealing something or someone emerging from the chaos, his heart raced. In that moment, Emma's determination hung by a thread, caught between standing her ground and facing whatever storm was brewing ahead. What confrontation awaited them? And would it shatter her newfound confidence, or propel her further into the unknown? The tension in the air thickened like the humidity before a storm. Emma's heart hammered against her chest as she strained to see through the throng of bodies. The crack she heard echoed ominously, a signal that something, or someone, could shift the entire landscape of this moment. Stay close, Em, Jake urged, stepping between her and the thickening crowd. He was trying to be her shield, but fear flickered in his eyes, revealing his own apprehension about what lay ahead. As the crowd parted, a figure emerged. It was police, donned in uniforms, their faces grim with authority. Emma felt her stomach twist. The air grew dense and charged with mutterings, an electric uncertainty coursing through the people surrounding her. Emma, stay calm. Her uncle's voice was strained, instinctively protective, urging her back. She didn't want to retreat. Not now. Not when her voice had just found a way to resonate. Let them through, Sam shouted, stepping forward. We have the right to be here. We have the right to be heard. The protesters, once alive with chants, shifted as confusion reigned. Emma felt torn. Part of her wanted to grab hold of Jake's hand and run while they still could. But another part, a primal instinct drawing on the courage she had just discovered, urged her to stand firm. Emma. Her uncle called again, desperation coloring his tone. This isn't a game. In this moment, she faced crises on all fronts. Her loyalties to family, the burgeoning revolution from within, and the rapid unfolding chaos outside her own desires. The shifting dynamics felt daunting, But Emma found her feet rooted in the ground, like a tree fighting against the wind. We have to do this. She found herself shouting, though doubt quivered at the edges of her confidence. For us. For who we are. The officers bore no smiles, their faces decorated with solemnity. One stepped forward, a tall man with sharp features that seemed to scrutinize each person before landing on Emma. You need to disperse, he said, his voice even, but laden with authority. This gathering is deemed unlawful. We're issuing a warning. The crowd murmured with unrest. There was a collective tightening of fists, an ebbing and flowing willing to confront authority. Emma felt the surge of determination swell within her once more. What do we do? Jake murmured, uncertainty washing over his features. If they enforce, then we push on. Emma gritted her teeth, suddenly fierce with resolve. Sitting back and dispersing helps no one. Not anymore. You're so young. Her uncle's voice trembled. You can't throw yourself into danger. Then let me lead. She shouted back, the words bursting forth with an urgency that surprised her. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from the clarity that cascaded through her. This wasn't just her fight. With each syllable, she felt others around her rallying, springing from fear into unity. The confusion began to shift, voices rising in a chorus of defiance. Together, they felt powerful, invigorated. And then came another thump, this time pierced through the crowd, sending waves of panic reverberating. A protester fell. The crowd instinctively surged backward, creating chaos and cries filling the air. Emma's heart sank. Stay with me. Jake grasped her hand tighter, searching her face for clarity. I want you back down. Emma shouted, but her voice quaked under pressure, an echo of uncertain bravery. Around them, the crowd seemed to pulse with frenetic energy. Fear clashed with courage as people began stepping forward, demanding answers. Emma realized with terrible clarity that they were on a precipice, balancing between hope and despair. What do we do, Em? Jake's voice quivered, pulling her focus back towards him. She hadn't expected to feel so lost again. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, she sensed the quiet, fierce need to protect him and everyone there. If she faltered now, everything she had just fought to build would come crumbling down. Together, she whispered, locking her grip on his hand, flooding warmth mingling with tension. We stand together, but before she could gather her thoughts, another resounding sound exploded from the far end of the line, an ultimatum, like a shot fired in the night, stifling breath and hope. Emma's resolve trembled. Would it crumble under the weight of fear? Or would they soar, united against a tide that sought to drown them? And as the thinning daylight cast shadows, she felt the truth of her path was still unfolding. What lay ahead? Would she stand tall, or would the retaliatory storm sweep them all away? The moment hung in the air, thick with uncertainty. Chaos erupted around her, cries of panic mingling with the desperate pleas for calm. Emma felt the world around her spiral into a blur, as if she were standing at the edge of a chasm. In the distance, flashing lights sliced through the fading daylight, adding a stark urgency to the scene. Her heart raced. She could feel Jake's hand squeezing hers, grounding her, anchoring her in the storm. But as the sounds of the crowd escalated, the tension wrapped tighter around her, squeezing the breath out of her lungs. Em, we can't let this fall apart, Sam shouted, his voice fighting to rise above the chaos. We need to stand our ground. The stark realization hit Emma like a punch to the gut. People were strong together, they were an army, but alone? Each person was a flicker fighting to stay lit. No one has to be alone in this, she thought fiercely. That clarity ignited something deep within her. They were all living pieces of this struggle, and each needed to feel empowered. As more protesters fell silent, uncertainty wrapping around them like heavy blankets, Emma steered her gaze back to the officer. The man's expression was resolute, cold as ice. In moments like these, authority often masked the humanity. They were just eyes that looked past her. We're not going anywhere, she bellowed, her voice echoing through the rising tension. The courage surged within her like wildfire, and she was breathless with it. Jake looked at her, wide-eyed. Are you sure? Absolutely, she replied firmly, feeling the power of her own conviction. Behind her, she sensed the shifting weight of bodies turning back towards her, drawn to her strength. Some began to chant again, the the familiar slogans of hope and change offering a heartbeat for the crowd. The officer took a step forward, glaring. "You are obstructing justice. Disperse now, or you will face consequences." Emma's heart pounded. "Then we'll face them together." Her voice broke, but strength seeped into her words, bouncing off those around her and igniting a new spark of defiance. Together, the crowd roared. A wave of solidarity washed over them. Emma could feel it gathering, an electric charge that charged the air, effervescent and ripe with action. They weren't just a gathering anymore. They had transformed into a force united by a common dream. But then, another report echoed through the crowd, sharper this time. People flinched, instinctively shrinking away. The officer raised his arm a signal. Emma's heart raced. What are they going to do? No one's backing down. She yelled, the words tumbling out on a breath. Fight for your right to stand. Fight for our voices. We have the power here, not them. Around her, the chants ignited into something profound. The body language shifted. Fear began to transform into resolve. Emma felt the shift as a palpable energy coursing through the throng, coursing through her veins. And then, just as the crowd seemed to find their footing in this new wave of unity, there was a sudden rush from the uniformed officers, a line of shields advancing, inching toward them. Emma felt her blood run cold. Get back, Jake shouted, pulling Emma closer, but she stood firm. She couldn't let panic reign. Her mind raced, processing the rapid developments like a movie on fast forward. Our truth matters, Emma shouted above the clamor, heart pounding fiercely, adrenaline surging through her. We're not just bodies demanding to be seen. We are stories, we are lives. We deserve to be heard. A member of the crowd stepped forward, joining her in front of the advancing officers. Who are you to tell us we're wrong? They were fierce words, striking the heart of the issue, and in that moment, everything shifted again. Emma sensed a crack in the armor of the officers, as if they hesitated, even for just a heartbeat. But hesitation was fleeting. A sharp command echoed once more, and the officers pressed on. Emma's heart pounded louder now, the sound drowning out her thoughts. The moment of truth was upon them. Would they hold their ground, or would the tide wash them away? Emma could almost see the decision hanging above them. All one choice could alter the very fabric of this moment. Please, let us stand together, she cried out, hope mingling with fear as she poured her heart into those words. Knowing that the future balanced precariously on this razor's edge, would they choose courage or surrender? The line of officers continued to advance, shields reflecting the fading light, and Emma's heart felt like it was about to burst. The crowd's chants seemed to echo off the walls of the buildings surrounding them, a chorus of solidarity rising against the impending threat. She took a deep breath, grounding herself in the moment, fighting back the tide of fear that threatened to swallow her whole. Stay together. Everyone, hold the line, Emma shouted, her voice unwavering despite the chaos. She could see fear in the eyes of some around her, but others were standing firm, emboldened by her call to unity. The power of belonging surged through her. They were not merely protesting, they were reclaiming their dignity, their voices, their very lives. Just as the shield-wielding officers closed in, Emma caught Jake's worried gaze. His worry mirrored her own, but it lit a fire within her. What if they push us? He whispered urgently, fingers trembling slightly around hers. We push back harder, Jake. We've come too far to back down now, she replied with fierce determination, feeling the strength of their collective spirit. The crowd was more than just bodies now. They were a wave of passion and purpose, reminding her of why they had gathered in the first place. The officers halted a few paces away, tension pulsing in the space between them. Emma sensed the energy shift once more, and without thinking, she stepped forward. We're not your enemies. We're your community, she cried. We care about this place. We care about each other. Another voice joined hers, a woman, tears streaking her cheeks, but fire in her eyes. This isn't just about today. It's about our children, our future. How can you stand there and push us away? The officer at the front shifted slightly, and for a brief moment, Emma saw something flicker in his eyes, a sliver of humanity beneath the badge. Hope coursed through her veins, tinged with nerves. Let us talk. You have authority, yes, but we have the truth on our side, Emma pressed, her heart pounding in her throat. With each word, She felt the crowd rally behind her, drawing strength from the shared courage that emanated from their collective will. The chants swelled in volume, drumming the very air, reinforcing their demands, demanding acknowledgement. The officer sneered, but Emma could see the cracks widening in his stern facade. "You think this is about you?" he challenged, but there was less anger in his voice now. "You are obstructing justice." "No, we're standing up for justice," Emma yelled, each word laced with unyielding fury. "Justice for the voiceless, for those shoved aside and ignored. We are your neighbors, your families. We deserve to be treated with respect." The pressure seemed to balance on a knife's edge. The world around them shrieked with noise, yet for a brief moment, a hush began to settle within the swarm of protesters. In that weighted silence, Emma could hear the rapid thump of her heart as she sensed the possibility for change right there, right then. The officer hesitated, still holding his shield, but staring into the eyes of the crowd. "Just step aside," he barked, but Emma caught the tremor in his voice. It felt like an armistice, an opportunity glimmering in the shadows. "Please don't push us away. We're asking you to listen, to stand with us," she implored again, her voice nearly breaking. "We need you to hear us, to truly hear our pain and our hopes." An electric pause followed, a pregnant silence, and she could sense a fracture forming in the ranks of the officers. Would they finally see them? But then, a sudden, blaring siren interrupted the moment, and panic rippled through the crowd as the officers began to advance again. "Stay strong," Emma shouted. "Together, we can face anything." As they braced for what was to come, her breath caught in her throat. What decisions would be made? And would they still have the spirit to fight, to rise above the pain that threatened to engulf them? In that crucial second, she was left wondering, how far would they go to protect their right to be seen? Would this be the moment that changes everything? The sirens thundered as if challenging the strength of unity that pulsed through the crowd. Emma's heart raced faster than the sirens, captivated by the realization that they were standing on the brink of something monumental. Would they break apart, or could they hold strong together? Jake's hand tightened around hers. "We can't let fear win," he murmured, his resolve glowing brightly in his eyes. They were no longer just individuals. They were part of a collective force, standing their ground for every family that had ever fought for their shared love, for everything they believed in. Together, the crowd echoed, a powerful affirmation pulsing through the mass of bodies. Emma felt every voice resonating within her, feeding a fire that couldn't be snuffed out. She took a step forward, her pulse hammering. "We deserve to be heard. Our dreams matter. Our lives matter." Shouts erupted, a wave of defiance rising around her. More people surged to the front line, their faces lit with determination. The chatter faded, replaced by a collective silence underlined with strength, brimming with raw emotion. Every eye turned toward her. This was her moment. "If we lose this park, we risk losing our community, our spirit," she called out, pushing through the walls of fear. "We won't let wealth dictate our worth. It's not just a piece of land, it's the laughter of children, the memories made under these trees." Around her, voices joined, an orchestra of unity serenading the gentle light of change. "For the community, for our children, we stand together." Each chant unfurled like petals opening to sunlight, unveiling a previously hidden strength. Emma caught sight of her uncle in the crowd, his expression a blend of disbelief and pride. She could see him grappling with the fissures of loyalty between family and advocating for a common good. Would he find the courage to stand alongside her? A moment of hesitation hung in the air, and suddenly the officer waved for calm amidst the chaos. "If you disperse peacefully, there will be no repercussions," he offered, but his voice vibrated with uncertainty rather than authority. Emma felt the crowd shift, but she couldn't let this moment slip away. "We will not walk away. We're not sheep. We're families fighting for our home." And the officer's mask cracked just a bit. She saw it in his eyes, a glimmer of understanding breaking through. He was just a person too, caught in a system he may have questioned. A few brave souls stepped closer beside her. "We refuse to be silenced," another woman shouted. "This is our community." With every rallying cry, Emma felt the urgency reach a crescendo. "Look around you, people," she cried. "Every face here, every story, we matter. Let that be heard." Suddenly, The tension of fear and hope collided like thunder and lightning. Emma sensed their connection, illuminating the shadows that had loomed large this entire time. The officers were hesitating now, exchanging glances that spoke volumes. She saw at her uncle's eyes twinkling with fierce pride as people around them started to rise, standing resolute, shoring up their newfound voice. "Are you ready?" Jake asked, squeezing her hand tighter. "Let us show them what we're made of," she replied, her heart swelling with determination. They turned toward the line of officers, together, a force emboldened and united by shared vision. As she stood there amid the gathering, she felt as if time itself was stretching, each moment a symphony of potential. And then, breaking through the weight of expectation, her family stepped forward too. "We will not hide anymore. We believe in our community." Her uncle's voice rang out with a potent clarity that dissolved strands of division. Cheering erupted. "Together! Together!" The energy swirled, spiraling into a powerful cyclone of solidarity. Emma felt her passion rise like a flame, igniting inside her, flickering into something extraordinary. "This is our moment," she implored, eyes sparkling with emotion. "This is the day we rise together, united in our fight. Let us create the future we want for our children. Together." And in that moment, she knew her voice coiled itself around the hearts of many, penetrating the very fabric of their fight. Together, they were unbreakable. The crowd surged forward, a wave of unwavering love and resilience crashing against the officers' shields. As they pushed onward, Emma's heart swelled with hope and joy. This was what love looked like. Together, they chanted, with every heartbeat echoing their hope and solidarity. Today was more than a fight for a park. It was a stand for the very essence of their identity, for the connections that bind them all. Her heart burst with pride despite the uncertainties. They would make their voices heard, bridge the divides, and protect the community they cherished. And as Emma stepped forward, she felt free, her spirit soaring, ready to carve her own path and build a future grounded in this foundation of love and unity. Together, they were unstoppable. Now was not the time for silence, but a loud proclamation. This was the moment they would remember, a day of a shared purpose, love, and transformation. Do you feel this energy? Do you see how powerful unity can be? You need to subscribe now to witness these unfolding stories of hope and courage. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed that algorithm and keep the spirit alive. Comment your reactions and feelings about this journey, because every voice matters. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this amazing transformation. Let us flood the world with this message of unity.